This is the Mobile Tech Podcast, brought to you by worldpodcasts.com. Now here's your host, Tank Girl, Miriam Joie.
Brought to you by Mint Mobile. Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Joie, and today is December 13th, 2024. It's a Friday, and we're on the Allure of the Seas, Royal Caribbean. This is the first official cruise cast of the Mobile Tech Podcast.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Firework.
And I have a few exciting guests. I have Nirav Gondia on my left.
Hello.
You're right. Captain to Phones himself, Mr. Mobile,
Good
Michael
afternoon.
Fisher.
Hi. Thanks for having me. Welcome aboard.
Yes, you're definitely our cruise director, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we have Nick Sutrich here on my right, your left, and Adam Dowd at the very end. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
I've been really looking forward to this. I've been kind of stressing about it because logistics, but
Yeah.
The cruise or the podcast?
the podcast.
Okay.
Right.
The cruise, no. I mean, it's easy. You just follow the instructions.
Right.
But I feel like we can call this the Booze Cruise Cast.
We could, we should, we will.
Deal. Hashtag. You heard it here first.
I'll drink to
So
that.
Branding.
it's been a bit of a slow.
We'll drink to that.
It's been a bit of a slow week, so I think I definitely want to talk about the Google Samsung XR announcement, even though I'm not into that so much, but I think the AR glass part, or AR glasses part, it's got me kind of
It
excited.
seems like your thing.
I was going to say, well, this is also why Nick's here, right?
Right.
You got to speak to
And
someone.
I'm
Nick-
just here because I'm here.
Just Nick likes to be on podcasts.
Nick's doing a lot of heavy lifting today.
Nick just likes to be on podcasts.
We're all just going to look at you and smile.
But also, Michael, we need to talk about this ship.
Happy
this
to.
thing.
Yes.
Like, let's,
Allure
because,
of
you
the
know,
seas.
mobility.
Yes.
Mobile, right?
Well,
So it's big, but mobile.
I've always wanted to review a cruise ship, and I'm wondering if I can parlay this into an opportunity.
So in
Are
case
you actually going to
review
do a
the ship.
video like you did of the bicycle?
I may just do like Allure of the Sea is brought to you by OnePlus.
Yes. Actually, while we're here,
Oh, yeah, that is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
before we continue, I do want to thank OnePlus for taking us on this cruise. This is where we are getting some devices that we'll be talking
Redacted.
about in a few weeks. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But thanks to OnePlus for putting us up and bringing us on this cruise ship. Now, dirty little secret, because of timing, we actually haven't left port yet.
Right.
The engines are not yet running. We are stationary.
But the funny thing is, I could swear I was on my balcony. This is I'm several drinks in and I was about halfway to that current point.
Couldn't tell.
No, really. This is just my normal effect.
Right.
He's got We're only 90 minutes in, guys, and I've already set records. But no, I swear, I have this videoed, like, on my Osmo. Like, genuinely, I thought we were moving, and I wasn't the only one. There were several, like, I was talking to Max Weinbach and others.
Yeah.
We all thought it was like, the when you look out, the boat feels, or the
ship.
Right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The nautical man over
There
here
are
is going to kill
18
me.
boats on this vessel. It's not a boat.
I may end up having to walk the plank because of this gentleman over here.
Mhm.
Captain
Anyway, the ship is
something.
moving. We are afloat. I mean, we're only tied to the pier with lines.
So it is going.
Don't call them rope. Yeah. We're moving.
No, but are we tied with the starboard or the aft line?
He really is the captain.
I don't have to.
I've spent many a day watching Below Deck, so this is now
Oh,
coming
no,
to.
so you're ready.
I'm ready for this, sir.
Can we make it a game where every time we misspeak a nautical term, we have to drink?
Oh,
yes.
it
Yeah,
will be
let's go.
enforced. Don't worry.
Back in 20 minutes, I need a case.
I feel like I
Maybe a
don't.
couple more.
I feel like I don't even have to be a host today.
Yeah. Miriam, we're taking the load off you.
Yeah,
We're just gonna-
sounds great. I'm good.
We're tied up starboard side too.
Can I do the official welcome?
Okay. First of all, this is one thing I struggle with all the time.
Yes.
To remember port and starboard.
Easy. Port, left,
Left.
P-O-R-T, L-E-F-T. 4 letters. 4 letters. Boom.
Oh, that's the memory thing I needed. Because you
That's-
see,
yeah.
I know
Little
that
mnemonic device.
red and green, I know that red, which one's red again?
So red is on the port side. The red running light.
Right, because red is on the left, really.
Right.
Yes.
And green is on the right.
Green is on the right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bow and stern.
So
because
green,
bow, you
5
move
letters, right, 5 letters.
So
got it.
we are
Well,
right now,
Excellent.
actually, this is, those of you watching, you're facing the aft of the ship, which is the back of the ship.
So
Are you
the
sure
stern,
about that? Because
the
this
stern,
was...
yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the wrong?
No,
thing?
aft
that what
is
we're
the
saying?
front.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
this
No,
is the
aft
forward
is
of the
like-
ship.
Forward, aft, bow, stern.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
So
Right
like
back.
So it's partially
This is the forward of the ship.
Partially right. That's fine.
We're yeah, but Miriam was talking about the way the camera's facing.
Right. Which is the start.
Direction versus location.
We are facing forward. I believe.
Oh, I know.
Right.
But this is genuinely one of the biggest ships in the world. I was saying on the bus ride from the hotel, I would have expected any brand hosting an event on a ship to kind of be like, oh, there's 90 of them, whatever. We can get a kind of a mid-tier ship on a fly-by-night cruise line.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest ships in the world, in fact.
So
that is immensely pleasurable to me.
Compared to a super tanker or an aircraft carrier, what is the scale here?
We have about the same displacement, which is to say the same mass as a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier.
Nice.
100,000 tons.
Is that smaller or bigger than a super tanker?
Those tend to displace more. They carry.
They're just really big.
Yeah.
Okay. See, we're learning new things on the mobile tech podcast about mobility.
Stretching the definition of the word mobile.
Yes.
So on a technical perspective, we're not sure what kind of internet we have. We have internet through the Wi-Fi here.
We don't know who's the provider.
I was in
Starlink.
Antarctica on my cruise.
I've already tested it.
It's not Star.
I think
It is SpaceX Starlink.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I did a test earlier. It was
Actually-
inside one of the rooms. It was something like
Here.
1.9 to 2.2 meg.
Try right now.
Upstairs on the 6th deck, not
Yeah,
floor.
SpaceX
because
Starlink.
SpaceX
he'll
Starlink.
annoy me if I say floor.
I was wrong.
On the
Nicely
6th deck, it was
Right.
something like 9 megabits per
Let's
second.
see if I get kicked off the internet for doing a speed test, because that's kind of demanding.
I just did it.
9 megabits per second. Oh, it's dropping down to 5 and 4 and 7. Oh,
I just
back
said
to
9.
9.
I like
And
that.
then down is coming.
Ooh, it hit a 10.
11.
Ooh.
I like the server-side provider.
Oh,
name.
3.5.
PlasmaRack.com.
Plasma Rack.
Welcome to Plasma Rack.
3.7-ish.
We take care of all your plasma needs.
Okay, so here you go, folks. For those of you watching on Patreon, we're seeing 11.4, 3.72. Now, this is at dock.
Yeah.
Right.
As we start moving, it might change. In Antarctica, it got lower and lower as we got closer to the poles because there's less and less satellites.
Sure.
Right.
But it was okay.
I'm just assuming there will be no internet.
Yeah.
I came into this
Good
like
assumption. Yeah.
plenty of things downloaded.
I think the challenge is
Oh, no.
the challenge we have here is not the fact that we're going towards a pole. It's because it's only 140 miles to Nassau from here. But
Right.
the challenge is the number of 6,000 guests on the ship. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
It's like you walk in and it feels like you're in Vegas.
It's a mall. I mean, you have a mall at the front door of the ship, and like it boggles my mind that we can build malls on ships, but we haven't licked this cancer thing yet. It's just really weird. Like,
It's a matter of prioritizing the funding.
I guess, yeah,
Right. I've
All right.
already heard Fleetwood Mac far too many times. So can confirm the Vegas bit. I will be spending most of my time topside.
Oh my goodness.
I disagree with the Vegas assessment because I walked into a bar and it did not take me 10 minutes to get to the place where I could actually
See,
order.
so this is where it's funny now because we're talking about I walked into a bar. That sounds like it should be a setup for something.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Like there's no anecdote?
I walked
No,
into
I
a
just
bar
walked
and then
into
I
a
came down for a podcast. That was it.
Oh, fair enough. All right, let's start with Google
Waka
Samsung
waka.
Android XR announcement. That kind of came out of nowhere. And like it's interesting because I thought we would have heard about it talking to one another, but somehow it didn't come up.
It was a surprise. It did kind of drop everybody.
What is everybody's kind of take on this?
I know nothing about it, so I'm just here for.
But like you read the news, right?
I did not.
Oh, wow.
I'm just here for the drinks.
It's a good thing you spoke up.
I know.
Well then,
I didn't speak up about that.
No, because the best thing is,
Nick,
we've all been
We're here
in
for
these
Nick.
conversations where something has just dropped and you're fully acting
It
like
did
you know
happen.
exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And Dowd's like,
to be
no,
fair,
I didn't bother.
fair, it did happen on the first day of travel.
I'm too
For
old
us
for
coming,
BS.
yes.
I just
Hold on a second. Why is the one person likeliest to know about this shit staying quiet?
Yeah.
Nick, speak up.
Because you're all talking now.
He's
All
got
right,
more.
let's see. Timeline, right? So they first announced this project last I.O. So how many months ago is that now?
May,
18?
March,
23, right?
Yeah, the one
it's
before.
23, yes,
23, yeah.
of 23.
Oh,
So they've been working on this quite a while.
oh wait, yeah, the glasses. That was then the translation thing.
Yeah, because
Right.
they had the three guys on stage and they were shaking hands and they had Samsung, Google up there and all that, and Qualcomm as well. And
Surprise.
so, right. I think for me, what's interesting in this is sort of twofold. Number one, that it's one OS for both like VR, mixed reality headsets, and smart glasses. That kind of surprised me because as you can see on Fisher's face, like this is a pair of smart glasses without a display, right?
Right.
But there's only so much room on glasses to fit processing and space and everything else. So having the same OS be able to move between that kind of device and something that's literally a face computer is
But they did say
impressive, I
in their
guess.
PR that the glasses, it offloads to the phone partially.
right. But I think that also depends on what glasses we're talking about. So we have some smart glasses, I guess, again, like the Meta Ray-Bans that
Ray-Bans.
you're wearing now, that some of that stuff is offloaded to the phone. Like the Meta AI is not running on those glasses. It's really running on your
Yeah.
phone. And your phone, it says assistant is running, right?
No, so I'm going to
It
devil's
says-
advocate
well,
for a second.
It does. It just for the record, it says that even if you haven't enabled the AI. So I don't know what the deal is. With
So, because I literally was earlier today, I took a picture, I had the Ray-Bans on,
Right.
my hat was on as well.
Yes.
And something that was new was it came to me and said, camera was blocked. And normally it will say that, but it was
Right.
like, camera was blocked by a hat.
Yeah.
My phone was off. My iPhone was not on
Right.
me at the time.
There's still
So
some
there's
low
still some
level.
low level.
But I'm not
stuff.
talking like a full, complete OS, whole user interface. Like these are very different things versus just a little AI that can be like, oh, hey, I noticed a hat in this picture. You might have a problem with the video or something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was one. And then the other one was that they had so many partnerships announced. So it's not just Google, Samsung, Qualcomm, which was the main partnership, but they also announced Lynx, which is a lesser known like mixed reality brand, Sony, which everybody knows, and X-Real, which some people know.
Yeah, extra.
I think that's probably the sort of smart glasses side of this equation because they just came out with a new pair called X-Real 1, and it's the first pair of glasses they have that have like an actual chip in them
Right.
that does
And they also
some
have a
sort of
mod-
location tracking.
modular
It's
camera.
their custom
Right.
chip as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
X1.
So
X1. I covered that last week.
I haven't talked to them yet about this, but I have a feeling that all builds into this, right? Like there's a reason
Interesting.
they just announced that
I
this
briefly
week.
talked to him, and everything you're seeing from like Ralph on X, for example,
Yes.
is all about the way that they built that
Yeah.
X1 to tie into these announcements and beat them to market
So-
with that announcement
Right.
as
So
well.
what does that mean, you think, in terms of timeline? Are we going to see? So they showed glasses with a single display, and then they showed glasses that could do proper, like, 3D AR, right?
Mhm.
So obviously, we could see something like what Michael's wearing, Meta Ray-Ban, with a single display on one lens.
Yep.
That kind of replicates the Google Glass experience,
Google
but
Glass 3.0.
10 years newer, right? I'd be into
Like
that.
the-
I really would be.
what's-
That'd be
what's
lightweight. I'd be into
currently available with the Even Realities G1
There you go.
that Josh Vergara is wearing on this very trip.
So how do you feel about that, Mr. Folding Fun?
What about which
This-
part?
No, the glasses, because you're wearing the Meta Ray-Ban. Are you into this?
I love the Meta Ray-Bans. The thing it is missing is
Yeah,
is
so
a-
you'd be
is a
into
display.
that. You'd-
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing that
what
that
would you want it to do?
basically what the G1 do, the Even Realities thing, where like you look up and you get this heads-up display in one eye that's monochrome. It's very minimal, and it's just like here's your notifications, here's your
Right.
your walking directions.
Instead
I
of
kinda
using
like
walking at
the-
your watch,
Instead of
right?
looking at your
Yeah.
watch.
I like the cards in Google Glass. I really thought that was cool. You could swipe between them.
Yep.
You had
Yeah.
the weather, your stuff, and then the navigation where it just told you like turn right now, like showed you a little
Yeah.
arrow. That kind of stuff I think is what I'm hoping. That's all I want, really. Now, I think 2 eyes would be better for your eyesight and wouldn't hurt as much probably to have it.
It would also be harder to, like, I think single display becomes more, this is going to sound weird, but it becomes more usable because a double display is going to distract all of your eyesight. A single display
Right.
that's slightly offset
Yeah.
is there in your peripheral, but as a glasses wearer who can't see anything without glasses, these are prescription, for example, like if you're having 2 displays, you will not wear them. You will actually, like, it would have to be really offset and it wouldn't be as usable.
Right.
But I have a question for all of you guys. Because I saw that announcement, I was like, fantastic. But to go back to what you said, it's been 18 months.
Mhm.
The reality is that they've spent the last 18 months building and I'd say almost hyping towards this vision of what they think it's going to be.
Yeah.
They put all of these partners and stuff together. It's not the first time that
Well, that's
companies have
Google.
attempted big things like this. So my real question is, and honestly, a yes or no, do you actually trust them to finally deliver? Because I'll tell you bluntly, I'm still struggling to see how 3 companies with inherently tangentially related business models, but also all wanting the Starlight, all wanting to be the name, all wanting to be that,
Right.
are able to work together to provide something that can even hope to challenge. I'd honestly almost back X-Reel to do a better job than these three big companies together, because when there's three big companies and stuff like that involved, we might get a Hail Mary where it's all amazing and it worked out.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is, in my opinion, more than likely chance that they just don't, mind my language, get together.
And another thing to consider is this isn't necessarily three big companies. This is three small divisions of three big companies that are all working together, whereas X-Reel has one singular vision. Like, this is what we do.
But if X-Reel is part of this, they're obviously involved with
Right.
Google,
right.
at least, and possibly Snapdragon or Qualcomm.
I think the platform idea is phenomenal, amazing. But I remember the days of the Gear VR, and I remember how much all the similar rhetoric was used to hype, and the fact that they were building and all of these companies were going to do amazing things to make this the best thing in the world. You can buy a Gear VR for about $5 on eBay, and it doesn't.
We can't
work.
wait to see what the developers do with it.
Yeah,
Adam.
therein lies the problem.
That is the. I mean, and not just this. Any product where someone rolls it out, and if that's their final line, that product is dead in the water, right there.
Unless you're Apple, I gotta say it, because
Vision Pro,
Vision.
not really.
No,
Yeah.
Vision Pro is the
failure.
exception.
I think it's a little too early to call Vision Pro a failure, but it certainly is not trending in the right
But no,
direction.
it's the exception to the otherwise, I'd say, arguably undeniable fact that Apple can get developers to build things, but the caveat to that is they get them to buy into things that consumers are already buying into.
Right.
So a Vision Pro at $1,500 suddenly is the kind of thing that will spur the next generation of of reality experience.
And I mean, to be honest, with Vision Pro, and we're getting way off topic here, but
No, we're not.
No, I think it's
Pro
very
launched
relevant.
with like
Totally
1,000 apps in the App Store. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of impressive for a brand new thing. So
Right.
I mean, if Google and Samsung and everybody can launch this product, whatever it is, with some type of measurable developer enthusiasm, then yeah, it has a chance. But that's the problem.
All right, let's go around. I have an interesting one that we can come back to. Sorry, I have to ask this question. How many
You're not. So.
apps? No, I'm not. How many apps and experiences? I'm going to make this very broad. Do you think that whatever we're going to assume that Samsung's going to be the one to launch hardware for this? Yeah.
Probably.
So let's assume that the first hardware running from this partnership, whoever launches it, how many apps and experiences individually do you think we'll have on there? Go for it, Adam.
How many
Remember
do
that
I
Vision
think
Pro launched with 1,000. So what do we think is a benchmark number?
I would say if you have anything less than like 50 to 100, don't bother.
Nick?
I think it depends on how Google handles it. I think Apple made a mistake by allowing developers to opt out. So if Google doesn't do that, there will theoretically be all of the Play Store apps in it. And
I don't see how that
then it
works,
won't
though.
matter. If they're just floating apps, there's no reason it can't work.
Yeah.
It's literally a tablet app floating in
Gotta
space.
say though, let's remember it's Google. I love y'all, but
I'm just saying, like,
with love.
that
Accurate,
to me is how
accurate.
they fix that, right?
I like that.
So my take is, unfortunately, I think Samsung's going to make essentially an Apple Vision Pro or non-pro competitor. Like, it's going to be a headset, and I hate headsets, and I don't care about the headset part of this announcement.
Right.
It's like, screw headsets, okay? Like, they're uncomfortable. You sweat in them.
You look
You
goofy.
still need you need eyesight correction for most of them. That's also applicable for the glasses.
Don't forget about
Unfortunately,
the 120.
and that's the problem. Is like, I have my X-Real Air and I love them, but I have to put them on top of my existing glasses because they send me a review unit, but they won't pay for my $256
Yeah. To
prescription
get your prescription
to
lenses.
get my
Yeah.
inserts. And then the inserts, and I talked about this with Rebecca on the show last week, that's the biggest problem. The inserts are not compatible between platforms. We need to
Right.
standardize that.
Yeah.
And
Because when you spend that kind of money, it's got to be standardized. Or you do what Vitcher is doing, where you can adjust it.
Yeah,
up
they
to a
have the
certain
diopter
point.
on it.
VIXION. I have a pair. Their CEO sent me one.
Okay.
Because that's mostly because both I and my sister have like really bad eyesight and stuff. Outstanding for the future of eye.
I mean, obviously
other
you
topic,
can wear
amazing.
contacts, but I don't wear contacts. Michael, how do you handle it? Do you need correction?
No,
for
these
your...
are just transition
Okay,
sunglasses.
so you
I
don't
wear them
need
inside
it.
so that I can keep using the camera.
Yes.
I do
That's how I
have a
wear
pair
mine
of
too.
no, but I have a pair of prescription Ray-Bans, Metas. They cost me, including transition lenses and including vision insurance. It cost me something like $700.
Yeah.
And this is the problem I think
That
we have
sounds
with
about
AR and VR in general right now. It doesn't really matter what this announcement brings in terms of platform and apps and experience until you can solve the basic thing of this has to be a $500 product or a $1,000 product, but then it can grow with you. You can use your inserts in multiple future products, either from within the same ecosystem, Apple or this ecosystem with Google or X-Rail or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is the biggest gripe because none of these apps are going to matter if people can't use the stupid glasses
Right.
and headsets, right?
Yeah, and I've noticed that too with the prescription. It's like some glasses require inserts, and of course they're all different sizes, and shapes, so they don't work together. Or even if you have the diopter ones, they're only one way. They only go minus. They don't go plus.
The crazy thing about it is 84, somewhere between 83 and 86% of all glasses physically are made by one company. The entire
Essilor.
glassware company, the entire Essilor Luxottica.
Luxottica.
No matter, I can guarantee that if you put 100 people in a room, all wearing specifically name branded glasses, 99% of them will be made by the same company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is the only thing stopping the vision of being able to have this usability across multiple devices, etc., is corporate greed. We have to put it that way. There is nothing that stops them from
I
developing
think
that.
there's just not enough momentum for them to standardize yet. And that's
Sure.
the problem.
Well, sure.
True.
It's like, I think it would eventually happen. It's like, we've seen this across tech for years. Eventually something hits critical mass and it just gets standardized.
Because
USB
Apple
Type
makes
C, like that's the best example. Even the EU government forced Apple to have USB-C.
Yeah.
But you
That-
just said something
The
very
EU
interesting.
government could force these
True,
AR
but
glasses and headsets.
Really,
to be
I think what
standardized.
it's going to take.
Right.
You need
The
people to
EU
use
government did it because there is a fundamental recycling responsibility element, CSR, ultimately at the end of it, to that. Yeah.
them. Yeah.
But the only way that this reaches that point where there is this standardization, and sorry, Google, Qualcomm, and Samsung, is when Apple builds a sub $1,000 and standard
what?
and sets a standard that the industry has very little choice but to follow.
I kind of wonder if maybe Facebook or Meta might have the chutzpah to push that into the
They
mix
could.
as well.
If I'm not, my numbers might be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, did they not just invest like something like $5 billion into Essilor Luxottica?
I don't know what
Meta?
the number is.
Meta did.
Meta made a big investment in it.
Meta made a
Ah.
huge investment, and I've been saying since I first tried the Metas,
But the Metas
I
need
expect
inserts.
I expect Zuckerberg to make a big play to own that space and to have some exclusive
Well,
tie-ins.
look at Orion, right? Did you see all the Orion stuff around Connect?
Briefly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so Orion is effectively what Google announced today, right? It's smart glasses with a display in them. Obviously, they're not a consumer model, but I would say it's potentially more than what Google showed us this week because more people have used it,
Yeah.
myself included, right? So like I know these things are real. I know how well they work. I think in this announcement for me, what Google can do best on the smart glasses side is unify with this platform because right now, if you look at
All over
all
the
the like
place, yeah.
actual smart glasses, every one of them uses a different OS, a different app. Most of them have really terrible UX. Like it's not a great product. I don't know what else to say. Most of them just feel like a prototype. So if they're running this operating system, there's a high likelihood that most of them will start to feel competent.
Yeah, hopefully.
Or familiar. I have a question. So
And maybe
ignoring
even
the-
familiarity will
Yeah.
fix that.
Ignoring the app question from before, I think I have a simpler question that would be really fascinating to get everyone's take on. I'm going to start from this end.
No, I wouldn't. Go ahead.
I will. Mostly because, make it easy.
I want to.
All right. I can think we all agree that there are effectively two major players in this space at this point. Apple aside, I mean, on the competing with Apple side of things, you've got this Google, Samsung, Qualcomm, add everyone in the mix and hope for the best. And you've got Meta, who frankly have delivered, like, they've honestly have just probably delivered one of the best products of 2024 for me. That's changed the way I work.
Really
Starting with you.
23.
It was 23, but I actually got mine in January, so it's and the AI stuff is fantastic. It's actually user friendly.
It's the AI stuff is as useless as all the rest of it. Go
anyway,
ahead. What's your question?
The question is, who would you, if you had to back one or the other to deliver a pair of reality glasses or experience that most consumers bought into, who would it be? And I'm really interested to hear why as well.
You know what's crazy? This reminds me. I didn't have an answer, but this suddenly reminded me of the smartwatch game in 2012. We had Pebble with all this early momentum. We've talked about Pebble a lot on the show. And you had all this early momentum. It was a great product, and it captured the hearts of geeks, and it was really great. And they seemed like they could do no wrong. And then you had the big players enter. You had Samsung, you had Motorola, you had Apple, and all of the added utility that came with those big players coming in with the color screens and the tech and the platforms and all this stuff. It was like it almost immediately took away all of Pebble's early advantage, despite the fact that Pebble had essentially created the category single-handedly.
Right.
So like, I want to say, Ray-Ban, like Meta, that partnership is like, it's so compelling right now that I want to instinctively say, yeah, they got the early mover advantage and they're going to lay it down forever. But no, I think once a company with a more potent portfolio of skills in this space decides to really make a go at it, then there's a lot of vulnerability here because these don't have a screen yet.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a whole untapped area.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be some AI voice telling me what I'm looking at or telling me what pool shot to take. Or
The dismembered AI voice of God.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Miriam,
So-
who's your take on that question? Same question.
After answer and the answer, I want to switch topics because I want to talk about some of the other
Fair
stuff.
enough.
But
Well, Miriam, to be
my
fair,
answer-
Nirav is the host.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding. It was a good question.
Good point. I think Meta. I think Google's too scattered. Samsung's gonna also get in their way because they always do. Remember the smartwatches? Like it kind of came and went between Samsung and Google, and even today, I still think Pixel Watch 3 is the best experience on a non-Apple Watch right now.
Agree.
Overall, and Samsung is not there yet. They use the same OS, and I can't. And again, it's one UI. It's like freaking what is with Samsung and the crappiest user experiences on the
Samsung it
entire
up.
planet. Like
From a health perspective, I think Samsung beats Google. Sorry.
Yes,
know
they do.
they do.
But the UI is
But the UI,
Hey,
not
and I'm
great.
sorry, but I know I'm recording this on S24 Ultra, but it's like I love the cameras, I love the hardware, and I hate the software. You know,
All right, Nick, Meta or this whatever this
Meta, because Google has not shown to me that they can support anything other than very mainline products for any length of time.
Fair.
Nice. Adam?
I'm going to go with Meta just because for the similar reasons that everybody else has talked about, but also because I think that Mark Zuckerberg really, really, really wants to rule this space and will throw money at it until it actually happens.
Plus, Google hasn't thrown $1 million at Trump yet, so
I have the perfect segue, I think, because I'm also going to go with Meta, and there is a very real reason. So before I bought my prescription Meta Ray-Ban Metas, whatever you want to call them, I bought a regular pair. I then sold them on Facebook
just
Marketplace.
get the lenses done?
No. I bought a whole new pair because it was the right way. I had the brown ones. I didn't like the color, whatever. It was actually, with discounts, it actually worked out cheaper than adding lenses. It's cheaper to buy a new pair than it is to add lenses into it.
Well, that's pretty typical of lenses.
And that's with lens crafters who are owned by EssilorLuxottica. So, there's a very real play here. Now, here's the crazy thing. I sold them on a marketplace. In 4 days, I had 172 messages selling at maybe 15% below market price for a used pair.
Really?
This is the first the only other product I've sold a lot over the last year, the only other product that's come close is Govee lights, which have a similar, like, insane following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Govee's
feel like
wild.
Meta's hit a zeitgeist of people here, whereby the Samsungs of the world are going to come in and they're honestly going to make it a little more boring. They're going to make it a little more corporate. And Meta's come in. Actually, this product has made them cool again.
Yeah.
Bizarrely, people were willing to use their services.
Right.
And the best thing in hindsight that they did was they're no longer called Facebook.
I mean, the reason you had so
Yeah.
much success with Facebook Marketplace is because you're a very sexy man, so they just saw that. They went to your profile. And then they were like,
Miriam Joie.
okay, Miriam, all right. Let's switch to some news.
Yeah.
Let's get some Google Pixel stuff out of the way, and then I want to talk about Foldy stuff with you over there.
Oh,
All right.
Foldy.
So Pixel stuff, the news today are basically a drop, came out a feature drop for all the Pixel 8s and 9s mostly. And it includes a battery bypass. Now, I installed it on all three of my Pixels that I have with me, and I don't see any menu item for battery bypass anywhere. I don't know what they're talking about. So, Nick, you are the Pixel boss, kind of, because you're really focused on the phones.
Sure.
What?
Yeah, sure, whatever you want.
Why not?
do you ever?
the host.
Have you tried?
I've not.
Okay, has anybody tried?
No.
Okay, so I cannot figure out what their setting is. That setting is not in the battery menu. I Googled it, like I searched it in my settings. I can't find any reference to it. I'm on the latest software
Pull
update.
out the right one.
I have
not the wrong
no
over there, don't
idea
worry.
what the deal is. But here's the thing. There's a lot of phones, Samsung apparently does this, where you can pass through. So you can not charge the battery while being plugged into power. So if you're playing a game, you're using AC or DC because it's converted to DC through USB power, and you're not touching your battery at all, so it can chill out and not get warm and not get like trickle charge up.
Yeah,
back up to.
didn't the ROG phones?
So the orange, all the gaming phones do that.
Yeah.
That's a given. But so far, it's only on the mainstream flagships, only Samsung's flagships did it, and then now Google does it. And also, along with that setting is a way to limit charging to 80%, which is the one I'm really looking for.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's actually a good feature.
No, that's a
finally,
really good
Yeah,
feature.
that's a really good.
You know,
feature.
it might help protect Pixel phones from having.
I actually think the
half-decent battery
adaptive
life.
charging works really well. Like when I set an alarm on my Pixel and I plug it in, whether wireless or not, it takes it slows down the charging to match my wake up time.
Yeah, that was
and
a
I think
Sony
that-
joint for the longest.
That's a really good thing for the battery, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That was an Xperia thing
And I
for
think,
a while.
like in general, just flagship smartphone batteries are good enough that you should be able to start at 80% and easily get through a day.
Yeah, and I think actually,
and that'll just long term.
I wish it was
There's
more.
an irony to this, which is the only phone that doesn't often last me through a day if I start at roughly 80% is a Pixel 9 Pro.
Yeah, right.
If
So-
only they charged like a
1+.
yeah.
Yeah.
And had batteries and, you know.
All right. So my experience is that I would love to see that number 80 be adjustable within a
Yeah,
range,
I can
like
see
by 10% or 5% increments.
That's what.
Because Apple does, but also that's how electric cars do it. And it's actually really helpful because you can say like, okay, I want to maybe slightly impact my battery's health, but I don't want to do 100%. I want to do, because I know I'm going on a trip, I want 90% today.
Okay.
But 80% most of the time, something like that would be great. Anyway, so that's one big piece of news. And I think this is positive. I think every phone should have this. But also, Pixel 9a has been leaked completely now. We have everything, specs, the whole freaking thing. And it doesn't have a visor. How is Google screwing everything
This is the
up?
one that looks like a.
It looks like a
LG.
nothing
No, I just
phone.
forgot.
LG G6.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a nothing phone. You're right. There was an old one that I was
So
thinking
this
of
is
that I
not the
forgot.
first leak we've seen without the visor, but now we have all the specs. But what do you guys make of this? Like, this is such a strong brand identity. And now we also know that Apple's going to do something similar with the Pro phones next year. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So now they're going to lose some of their identity. And that's the time when they decide to make their best probably phone, in my opinion, the A series, the most compelling because you are not looking at flagship performance. So and the price is so good and the software is so great. Like they're going to mess up the aesthetics and I don't know.
Actually, the spec on this is effectively something like an S24 at half the price.
It is.
But also, it's Google. Since
Exactly.
when does
Look,
Google apply
no,
logic?
no.
Like
This
with
is-
love, when do they apply logic to
This
design identities?
This
and
is
stuff?
the
It's
things that
problem
piss
they've
me
had.
off. Like 23-watt wire charging.
Mm.
What the and then 7.5-watt wireless. That's useless. I mean, it's not useless because it's wireless charging, but
Miriam, it's also an A series, there's got to be trade-offs.
Do you know what has the exact same specs for charging? This. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold I'm holding is 21 watt wired charging, 7.5 watt wireless.
Yeah,
no reverse.
That's not a compromise.
wireless
That's a
charging.
Google thing.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's a Google thing though, because for how many years did Samsung extol 25 watt? The fact
They
is,
still do.
the
45
fact
watts
is,
a
yeah,
joke.
Yeah.
The 45 watt is a joke because no one never actually hits it because you need that separate thing.
Okay.
The reality
It
is,
does it for like 10 minutes.
the reality is, you've got Samsung, Google, and Apple who extol whatever speeds they have, but they don't actually hit those speeds or whatever.
Right.
Right.
You got the mainstream basically pulling the wool over people's eyes and applying logic for the sake of a number. And then you've got the rest, your OnePluses, your Oppos, your Xiaomis, your Vivos, and everyone out of Asia going, no, welcome to 100 watt, an actual 100
I know.
watt.
I mean, most phones in that price range are coming out of China right now. Even the ones sold in the US have 80 or 100 watt. Like, it's like 67 is like the low bar. I don't get it.
Got to be a change where the market, it will never happen.
On the
and
plus,
it's a wish list,
on the
but
plus
there's
side,
got to be a way to get this to change the way that phones in the US work.
I just wish that, and what I like about OnePlus and talking about like fast charging, I love that OnePlus changes your relationship with your battery entirely.
It's a game changer.
You plug in your phone while you're putting on your shoes and you're good to go for the day. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It takes you how long to put on your shoes? Sorry.
I have to find them first, and I have 2 days.
Oh, good point. So Tensor G4 is kind of the only exciting thing to me here because it is an improvement in thermals and in cellular reception and signal strength.
Shock horror, I don't dislike the Tensor G4, which might be the
The
first
only
thing
problem
I've
I
said
have with
that
the
about.
G4 is on this particular phone, my Fold, is that Wi-Fi 7 performance is abysmal.
Yeah, but
Like, it's like, why do you even have Wi-Fi 7?
this is maybe an $800 to $900 phone that they doubled the price of because they added 2 screens.
Yeah, exactly.
That is their business model.
And you see
This phone, I have a Pixel Fold, 9 Pro Fold. I like it a lot. But I will say that thing is maybe a $1,300 worth of value.
What?
1,400 tops.
I love it.
Michael, I was just going to ask you, in the scale in the universe of folding book style phone, where do you place this phone? Like where does, because you're the expert, and I'm like,
that's the one I prefer to carry. That is the
right now that is your
foldable
so what is it for you? For me, like, I love it. I'm a little annoyed the slightly downgraded camera specs compared to regular pixels, but the results are so good that I'm not that annoyed.
That's it.
And then the biggest problems I have with it is not Tensor G4 or the performance.
No.
It's the battery and the charging. Battery life and charging are not that great.
I don't know.
It's too slow to charge.
It may well be too slow to charge. My problem is with the wireless charging. The coil's like offset.
Oh, that is. I totally said that.
Center it on a charger.
No, you can't use it. It's down here somewhere. It's down here somewhere.
But those are little annoyances. Like the reason that it is my go-to. And look, when I dropped my review, my tone was not overwhelmingly positive because I was lamenting the loss of that passport-like form factor from the first one.
Right.
Because I loved a big player like Google doing something different and saying there's an in-between between the clamshell and the book.
I literally wrote an article on that too.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm still mourning that, but the intervening time has seen me carry this, and I've been like, no, I can't say that I would prefer to carry anything else because it's the Pixel feature set in a book style.
It's the software.
Yes,
it's the software, right?
Oh, it's
and the camera. I'm including the camera as well.
Do you not feel that software aside? I feel like the OnePlus Open can play ball in the camera.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I love the OnePlus Open's camera.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the OnePlus Open,
an
and maybe, since OnePlus is here with us, we should give them the feedback. If OnePlus could give us the Pixel feature set.
But they can't, though. They're not going to give us now playing. They're not going to give us all
Maybe
the voice recorder stuff.
China can redo all this.
I mean,
Now playing is by far one of
the only
best features
reason
on the
that
Pixel.
I have the OnePlus Open here and not the Pixel 9 Fold is because of this. So I'm kind of dog fooding, and I
brought the OnePlus Open too, but and OnePlus does cool stuff too, like the Open Canvas stuff.
Oh, the
Which
Open
is amazing.
Canvas is
Open
fantastic.
Canvas is awesome.
It's a
I
great
noticed
device.
that I think
It gets a little
the
finicky.
OnePlus 12 I just got my OnePlus 12 updated to the Android 15. And I think it has Open Canvas now on the regular.
It does.
It
yes.
does on the camera.
It does.
Is that useful?
But
I mean, it's better on a bigger screen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a caveat out here.
All right.
You guys are all. I
Caveat away.
love the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Fantastic. Y'all all know I've been on your podcast enough times saying how much I hate Pixel phones. I really like what they've done with the 9 series.
You know you're wrong, right?
That's a difference of opinion, but you're wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, you know, it's
But,
okay. Go ahead.
but,
I'm just
but,
kidding.
But I want to throw it out there going, as great as the 9 Pro Fold is, and as great as the Open Canvas is, I bought one foldable with me on this cruise. It's an Honor Magic V3.
Oh, you
No.
turd. What are you talking about?
I really like that phone.
That
Wow,
hardware is
reaction.
amazing.
The hardware is amazing.
Do you
but
like
the
using
software?
software like bad Huawei software from 2018? Is that like
But I also like,
of yours?
you remember, I'm the kind of guy
Stockholm
who
syndrome.
prefers, I prefer One UI. I prefer One Plus.
For one UI.
You're one
I
of those
prefer that
guys.
over Google forcing an opinion on me. That's
For
my
those,
take.
for those who are not
You-
watching on Patreon, Adam just tried to.
And you guys
Yeah.
can all be wrong, and it's perfectly fine.
Okay, let's
Hold
move.
it back.
Let's move on. If we're talking folding phones, it's a good segue. Rumors that the Z Flip7 and the Z Flip FE are going Exynos. Do we care, Michael?
No.
Do you care?
No, not at all.
All right. Do you not care in the same ways that this has a tensor in it, and it's fine?
I'll say this. You could sneak into my room at night, steal my phone, replace the processor in this, which is a Flip 6, with like, I don't know, a 4-year-old MediaTek. Give it back to me the next day, and it would take me 3 months to even notice anything.
Right.
Because you don't
We
play
are
the games.
so far freaking beyond
I know,
any of that
it's
shit.
true.
Like, it doesn't
I
matter.
agree.
It doesn't matter. And sure, no, look, these are all measurable differences. Yes, there will be worse battery life. Yeah, it'll run hotter, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay, next question.
95% of the things I'm doing on a phone,
I feel the same.
do not care.
I feel the same. Next question, though.
Mhm.
What do you think it's going to do to the price? Because obviously there's going to be a fan edition, which should be cheaper than the regular. But do you think they will keep the regular at $9.99? Because that would be an opportunity for them to go down to $8.99.
Well, correct me
Isn't
if I'm
it-
wrong.
is it
isn't it?
$10.99?
It's $10.99 now.
Okay,
Yeah.
now it's
'Cause
$10.99.
we had the price
Oh.
bump last year.
I completely
or
forgot
this year,
about that.
Which
was
mad
Anyway,
about us.
not
so
great.
maybe
I'm
they
still
can
mad
go
about
back.
it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Look, well, that could be an interesting way for them to message it. If
Right.
they want to take the sting out, do some preemptive damage control and say like, yeah, as Exynos, we're very proud of Exynos whenever, and as a result, which they would never say it this way, but we can make it an $8.99 freaking flip phone or bring it back to $9.99.
I'd say bring it back to $9.99.
Yeah, and then have a
That would be
$6.99
smart.
fan edition.
Right, to compete with Razer Minus.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They won't, though. They won't. What they'll do is
I think you're right. I think I
they
already
will
agree with you.
improve. They will tweak certain parts of the camera experience. They will tweak something else to provide some form of justification. But what I think we'll find is that the bill of materials cost will probably be similar or slightly lower.
Slightly lower.
They will not change the pricing. And I'm going to go back to what I said directly to Samsung PR last year. At $10.99, the Flip 6 is not as good as and not as compelling a proposition as a $9.99 Razer. And I can tell you now that
Especially
if
since
they
the
bring
Razer
in,
gets discounted.
yeah, and
Oh,
if they
the-
bring in,
And the
if they
Razer
bring in-
software is 10 million times better. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, and if they
100%.
bring in a Z Flip SE at
Really is.
$6.99 to compete with the Razer Minus, just Samsung, don't
FE.
bother.
No, wait a second.
Just don't bother.
I-
Just like literally admit defeat in the Flip.
No. I will say we get carried away with ourselves a little bit on this because I agree with you about the Motorola arguments. You know, I'm a kind of a Motorola fanboy. Like I
No.
yeah,
You don't
come on.
say.
Yeah.
But look, I have to say, and I'm going to say this in an upcoming video. Like, I broke another Razer. Like, I set it up to take photo. It fell off. It fell on its volume key. It broke the volume key. Now it can't boot because the volume key is held down.
Ooh.
I break Razers all the time. Razers are
Wow.
inherently more fragile than this, which is a more boring design because it's got the aluminum frame and the flat glass. But it's like I drop this all the time. This fell off a bike at 10 miles an hour and it's fine. Like,
Well, you have a habit of dropping Samsung phones from bikes.
I have a habit of dropping.
Like, I don't know
everything.
what it
Miriam,
is with you.
I ruin phones all the time, but Samsung has really held up
No,
very well since the Flip
I
3.
agree.
And when I'm using this, and I'm like directly contradict what I just said about not noticing performance on phones, but the Razer can chug. You're trying to look at notifications, and you're like, this is come on, cat, keep up.
And
Whereas
you're like,
Samsung never
Close
makes
all
me
apps, do everything you
like,
can to.
like Samsung is a very refined product. I think it's a more boring product. I think the user experience is inferior, or the user interface design tends to be inferior.
Right.
But the experience overall is more consistent. It's a more mature product.
Yeah.
I think Samsung
And I like the
some
physical
unearned
hardware
go-
of Samsung's a little better.
Well, I mean,
Boring
yeah,
and
It's funny. I like
dependable.
the physical hardware of Moto better.
Same.
I
I
do
do
too.
I do too, but like durability wise.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so boring and dependable or exciting and questionable? Which one?
I mean, I have unabashed love for the Motorola Razr as well. And, that's pretty well documented here.
Chicago man gonna Chicago.
That's right.
I'm sending you a
It's
check in the
one
post.
thing I have going for me.
I will say this: my wife has been through 2 flips, Samsung flips, and she's still on the Razr that has not broken.
Hey,
Okay.
And I love my wife, but she knows I make fun of her all the time for dropping her phones.
all right.
So
Case or no case?
case for
Okay.
sure.
So
I don't put cases
what's
on
really
full.
interesting is
But the
I-
Samsung phones were also in cases.
but in my Razer review last year, I even said, shockingly, and this is where I felt like maybe there's a slight turn. This is really random. I was in a random gas station using my Razer, the pink one, and someone actually for the first time said to me, "Is that the new Motorola?"
Oh, no
Not,
way.
is that the new
Oh,
Samsung?
whoa.
Wow.
Nice.
This was shortly after
That's
launch,
cool.
which can only seem like we've all
Well,
said to
once you repair
Motorola, why,
something,
when are you going to hit the marketing and stuff? They're taking a completely different approach, like everyone, because no one can compete with Samsung with the money they have.
Right.
But you know what? If it improves, if their marketing and their brand awareness, share of voice improves
Yeah.
5, 10, 15%,
Yeah.
you see what they've done in LATAM and places like that. They're blowing Samsung out the water in certain markets.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that working. It might take 5 years for them to hit that, but I can see that working in that flip market here.
They're already bragging about how many iPhone users they're converting on using Razr specifically. So
Sure.
I think they're seeing substantial success on it. The
Yeah,
first time
I
they said
think
it, I'm
Razr's
like,
been good.
surely that's a misprint, and then they've been consistent, and they've consistently
just
said they're selling more and
Complain
more.
just for a second about
No,
Razrs.
Adam, you
Like,
never
if-
complain.
And next topic now.
Yeah,
The Chicago card is
No,
ruined.
Razer would be a wonderful phone if Motorola could just fix the cameras. Like, and
Well,
I've
fair.
told Motorola PR, I've written it in reviews. Like, if you left everything the way it is and spent every R&D dollar you have on cameras for next year, you would be gold. And
I mean, the decision of not putting, getting rid of the ultra wide on the main Razr,
yeah, that's hard.
was
Yeah.
a dumbass move.
I agree. That was not a move I agreed with. But I think the main camera performance on Motorola, like, I mean,
The main is okay.
It's good.
on the Razr Plus is, it's good.
Yeah,
It's been fine from what I can tell. I've actually been impressed by it
Theo
more
likes
than a handful of times.
I take back what I said earlier. I do have 2 foldables with me. I just realized that my Razer Plus is perpetually in my bag.
There you go.
Okay.
It's
All right.
perpetually in my bag.
We have
Moving-
25 minutes, so we'll get underway.
I know.
Yeah.
Moving on here to Galaxy S25 series to support Qi 2 with a big asterisk. Have you guys seen
Wait,
that?
what's-
Sorry,
It's
what again?
What is
Galaxy S25 series, the flagships that are coming sometime in January,
Mm.
are going to supposedly support Qi 2 wireless charging with a big asterisk, meaning it might not support the fastest speeds.
It's Samsung. It'll
It
be
might
Samsung.
not have
Samsung
the
won't support the
magnets,
fast.
which are optional.
Come on.
It will not.
It's
have-
Samsung. It'll be
is
like
that?
5 watt.
There's no
Wait.
point in being Qi 2 if it doesn't have magnets.
Right.
So
Right.
I agree.
That is that's
That's
the
literally
argument.
the defining standard.
that's
So-
like, I don't know. This is like, it's having a boat without like a motor or something. Like, yeah, you can float. but
So,
whatever.
so the
Like, why would you do that?
the story says here that we don't know which profile it support, magnetic or not. And if it doesn't support magnetic, will they do what Oppo did with the Find series, where they have an external case that has the magnets on it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Like a lot
fine.
of the companies seem to be doing that right
But
now.
you know what?
They will do that,
stop.
but it'll be
Why?
a $100 case.
Why is anybody cool with this? Like the
You
most popular smartphone in the United States, one of the most popular smartphones in the world, has no problem building in a magnetic array into the case.
And has not for years.
Right.
what is the issue?
There is no, yeah. And
I don't want to put a case on
I
my
think
phone
it's
to
about
give it a
extra
magnetic
money.
capability.
but you know what? And last year we asked OnePlus, we asked Samsung, where's the Qi 2? And both of them told us, well, the consumers weren't really demanding it. And it's just like, go to Amazon and type Samsung S24 Ultra MagSafe.
Yeah.
There are literally thousands of case makers.
Yeah, I think that was a bogus answer, and I think
yeah.
like, then they changed their answer. At least one of them did later on to be like, well, Qi 2 just got ratified, in January, so it takes
It's
time
all-
to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But then you had HMD Skyline.
Yeah,
HMD
I
built into
have
the
it.
Skyline, but apparently those magnets aren't great. Like Julian's review.
They're not very strong.
Okay.
Mm.
got it.
They're there and they work with MagSafe accessories, but not like the kind where you're like, Apple, you stick it on like one of those magnet mounts in your car and you get in a car accident.
Right,
And
yeah.
the phone is still there.
Yeah.
Your
Right.
car is trashed. The airbags went off.
Right.
Your 911 call is happening. Crash detection's going off. But the phone hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas with, like the MagSafe on the Skyline is basically like, it'll stay there. Like if
Maybe.
you have the puck from Apple, it'll stay on the phone.
Okay.
You can shake it a bit. But if you have on a mount, it's
Yeah.
probably going to fall in a
The
big
weight of
bump.
the phone is gonna-
It's-
So I've been using.
so I
them-
think the problem with Qi 2 is that also like we need to standardize this magnet strength somehow, right?
So is that not part of the magnetic power profile? There's not a
I
standard
think there
split
is,
that's
but it's not quite to the level of what Apple's doing. And I also think that remember that the accessories themselves for Apple have more magnets too. So it's like
Right.
you have magnets in the phone and they're a certain level,
right.
but then if they're not lined up quite right, it doesn't quite work. Like, and they don't match or whatever. I don't know.
We already had a Razer appreciation hour, but I will say that a fun thing about the Razer is that because of the placements of the magnets it uses to keep the flip closed, if you throw it,
actually
if you
works?
throw it on a MagSafe thing, it'll stick
stays?
to most of them.
Oh
yeah.
my
Yeah.
God.
What I want to say is just jumping on what you said. I've been using the Find X8 Pro from Oppo and with their magnetic case.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe 2 weeks into it, and like many people, when
The
you're
magnets fell off?
but when you're absent-mindedly like playing with the case in your pocket, whatever, I'm already starting to see that
Is it starting to
mags they're
split?
starting to peel off the case.
Oh.
Now that is
I wasn't far off when I
that
said
is
they're falling
no,
off.
but that is a very. It's one case, and I have been
Right.
very
This
much
could be like
twisting
Apple's fiber case
peeling
or
it,
whatever
paling
was,
it,
right?
all of that stuff.
Well,
But the reality is,
just a
if you're
dud.
gonna run, if Samsung, if you plan to make Qi 2 a thing,
Yeah.
and you actually want it to be a thing, you're gonna need to build it
I was
into the
kinda
phone. It's not
honestly-
gonna be a thing.
I was kind of honestly thinking that Samsung, who's really kind of like number 2 in North America, where clearly MagSafe is a thing, like this market,
Yeah.
that they would be the first Android manufacturer
think.
to do
Wouldn't you
it.
think they would
You
want
would.
to
Right?
compete real
Yeah.
hard in that?
Like,
yeah.
they clearly don't want to adopt
know-
the high-speed charging.
But do
And
they
then
want to
the
pay the
Chinese have.
licensing fees to call it Qi 2?
But Samsung, Samsung being Apple's largest competitor, Samsung would be able to deliver the message, hey, all those MagSafe accessories that you have? You can use those with this.
Exactly.
Like,
I didn't really think
It's an
that we're going to have
opportunity.
such an intense discussion about Qi 2. It's really hitting a nerve.
Oh my
right?
God.
I think all of us are frustrated.
Yeah,
about
we're
it.
really
Like,
annoyed.
we're all impatient. If you
Stupid.
use MagSafe at all,
Yeah.
like how fun it is, how cool
It's
it can be.
fantastic.
I mean, folks, I stuck my iPhone to the wall of my cabinet.
Yes. But
Now-
you have a very weird case.
No, yeah.
Oh,
So this is a
okay.
no snap
It was
case,
your
which, like
room.
with like super strong magnets on the back. But I mean, like this is the standard right here. Like if you want MagSafe done right, this is amazing.
Do you know what? I genuinely think we're going to see Samsung take the approach that Oppo and others have done. They won't go call it Qi 2. They'll call it Galaxy Mag or something, or brand it in such a way,
Mag.
and it will do
Magaxy.
so much damage to the perception.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, with love, I don't think we're in the cycle of Samsung CEOs that innovate. We're in the cycle of Samsung CEOs that goes, we're sorry, we haven't innovated for 10 years, but we promise we'll try again in 10 years' time.
Totally gonna do it.
That's it. You're
At
not
some
going to the
point.
Samsung event.
I say this with love, and I've said
Yeah.
this to you guys directly. I think without going into tangent, you could set a standard for 2025 for what's expected,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
build it in, play into it, and play to the strengths that you guys Samsung has had for 20 years.
Right.
Will they? We'll find out.
All right, let's move on to Apple received the hinge patent. Now, look, patents are all over the place.
Yeah.
They get, but it's interesting to me because it's like, I looked at it, like
Yeah,
I
me
look at
too.
how it works,
It's
and
an
it's
interesting
not
diagram.
like, for those of you watching, it's not like this. It's more like, remember the Surface hinge on that? It wasn't a folding device, but remember that
I think you're thinking
Surface Book where it has the keyboard that
of
attached?
Surface Book.
And like it closed and then there was like a room in between?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
It's
Lenovo
what that
made a
hinge-
bunch of Me Too laptops on the back
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
like with
Yeah.
that with that kind of watch band style hinge.
Yeah.
It reminds me of
So,
that too.
And all the
Mr. Captain
TCL
to
concepts we
phones.
saw with the
What's
same.
your take? Is this the preamble to
Look, I mean, we're
folding
due.
them?
We're more than
We're
due.
due,
I mean,
right?
Like, I think we were a couple
Do
of
you-
years ago. We were like 2025. You
Do
think?
you believe it's going to be an iPod? Do you believe it's going to be a phone?
I think it's going to be a phone. Look, I think I'm speculating in opposition to the rumors because I think a lot of people think it's going to be an
iPad, yeah.
I think it's going to be a clamshell iPhone
Like a flip.
like this. Like
Yeah.
a flip.
I think
That makes sense.
that would
That
sell like
feels more-
hotcakes.
That feels more Apple
Like,
to me than
if
anything. else,
Apple
and it
can
would
make
sell.
Right.
Because
if they can make this as
It's-
reliable as this is,
no, you just said it. Like it'll sell like crazy, and I know that because you can't use this phone in public, the Flip 6 or the Razr, without people asking you about it.
Right.
When I pay for coffee, when I pay for whatever, like everyone always wants to know
Yes.
about this phone.
I mean, it's
And
amazing.
it's always the same conversation, which we've talked about over and over again, because it goes the same way every time. Oh my God, that's amazing. I have one just like it. I really want one. I've seen those around. Beat.
Does
Of course, I would never leave my iPhone.
Right.
So like if Apple builds one of these, they will print money.
I have
Oh.
to
Even more
wonder-
so than they're already doing.
I just
I
don't
have
think
to
they're
wonder
convinced.
if iPhone is waiting until they can get rid of the crease.
Yep.
I have to think that that's the stopping. That's what's stopping.
Actually, I think it's simpler than that. I think they're waiting. I think they,
I like for
No,
those
no,
not
no,
watching,
they've-
Michael just opened his flip
I'm-
and looked at it, like
'Cause-
about to say, like, check this out, and he's like, yeah, okay.
I know, but what
No,
I-
because the Flip 6 is almost is really almost there.
It's
another,
close.
there's another
It's
reason the
close.
Flip 6 got too much heat because like all of us were like same boring thing, but then like what are we 5 months out from launch, 4 months out from launch, and I'm like, damn, this crease ain't bad. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not feeling, it's not
that-
doing the
I
lame
think
shit
that
it used to do.
The challenge for Apple right now is that they're probably trying to match or beat Samsung on reliability.
Yeah.
And like, because this is a key thing you have to remember. You're an iPhone user, Adam. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're freaking strong phones. Like,
Yes.
you can literally like throw one across a room without a case and you'll probably just.
Oh, you mean physically
what?
strong?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I-
All right.
I also think Apple it's not just about reliability and hardware. I think whilst they're going to rely on developers, they are also trying to develop and bring things like what is their
Unique
freaking-
experiences.
But what is their iPad multitasking called?
Oh, the slide over?
Yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
They're trying to find ways to go. What is their compelling software experience? Just building a phone that folds
What?
isn't going to be enough. I think they're gonna, especially as they're gonna price it higher.
What-
That's probably where the Air comes in next year or whatever.
Yeah.
Is like the precursor to it. But they've got to build the compelling experience that gets people to buy into it,
Yeah.
because then they'll get the developers on board, the same developers who are possibly invested in the Galaxy
Well, and
ecosystem now.
The other thing you have to consider is that Apple has no mechanism right now for what to do with half a screen.
Yep.
So, like when the phone is closed, Apple is going to have
They
to.
have the Apple
build that.
Watch.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
very true.
So
But I think
and
you can do
remember,
so much more
I
on a
don't
smaller
see,
screen
I
than
don't
you can
see,
do on a-
I don't see Apple ever giving us apps on the front screen. I
Really?
think Apple will actually do
widgets.
They'll do better, bigger Apple Watch widgets on the front screen.
Yeah, I
and
could see
and
that.
there'll be an entire development ecosystem around that. In
Mm-hmm.
the same way as you install your app on your phone and it automatically comes with the Apple Watch app, there'll
Mm-hmm.
be automatically comes with a front screen app.
It'll
You
be
know,
maddeningly
and it'll be
restrictive, and we'll
perfect.
complain about it for the first like 3 generations.
Yes,
Yep.
and then eventually it'll be
and then it'll be like,
I
well,
really
this
hope
doesn't
we're
Can
really
confirm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really hope we're all wrong, but I have a feeling that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
But I really wish that they'd follow the Razor example, because
Oh, no, they
actually
will never do the razor.
No,
example.
Too much
because-
freedom in that.
Oh my god!
they have, as long as they can make the front screen resolution directly scalable down, which may be difficult to do.
No.
No, it would have to be a rectangle.
Yeah.
yes.
However, again,
Like-
whatever their approach is, we
It would
don't
look like
know.
the Oppo.
Yeah,
But wait,
Oppo.
wait,
whatever
Apple
approach they
does
take,
have
there
the
is
thing
something
where
there.
back in the day where you could double tap on the home screen and it would half size your apps.
Yeah, I
Remember? So
hate
You can
that.
still do it
Single
now.
reachable? How does it always double tap on the little thing now?
No,
Yeah, wait, one
That's-
second. Hold up.
That did not
I'm
work.
trying to remember. how-
Narrator, that did not.
I always do it accidentally, and I'm like,
Anyway.
damn it.
Let's move on.
Oh no! It's a swipe down.
talking about
It's a swipe
reachability?
Swipe
down.
down. Anyway,
Yeah.
Something.
Apple
you go.
17 Pro design rumors that looks like a visor. It looks like a freaking visor.
Well, if the 8A isn't going to do it, or the 9A isn't,
What do
gonna
you
do it,
guys think? Is that?
I
I mean,
I
we
was
can't stop it.
I was trying to figure out how to do reachability. I did not hear a word you just said. Sorry.
Apple
Mark it.
17 Pro
Okay.
is gonna have a visor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's in the topics,
I
man.
know. I didn't hear what you said. It's fine. It's fine. Mark it.
It's not very important anyway, because I'm just curious what your thoughts are, because honestly, who knows? It's a rumor. But it looks like it's come up a few times now, and we're seeing some parts that look like they match. So I think we're gonna see at least one of the iPhones. I actually thought it might be the Air or Slim or whatever that they're gonna do, but it looks like it's the Pro now.
I think that's our cue.
Is that our cue?
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain
Market.
speaking.
Oh, the captain.
At this time, we will
Totally leaving this in here.
Cooperation in completing your mandatory safety briefing. We have a few more final safety points we must cover though. Immediately following this announcement, the emergency signal will be sounded in compliance with International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea.
Nice.
No action
Solid.
is required of you at this time, and this signal is for your awareness in the unlikely event of a real emergency. Thank you for your attention, and please stand by for the emergency signal.
7 short glass, 1 long.
Yep.
As we all learned in the app.
Yes, we did. 1.
Oh, nice.
This is your ending, yeah? We got 10 minutes till the welcome party, so.
All right. So
Could you just imagine like someone running around the ship was like, was that 6 or 7?
all right.
Anyway,
So wrapping up this iPhone 17 Pro design rumor. I don't know. I think I don't see Apple
it.
is really kind of messing with Google here, because Google had such a good brand with the visor. And then of course they're doing stupid things on the 9A now. And then Apple's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do something visor-esque.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a planted leak to find a leaker.
Probably.
You think?
Yeah.
So you don't think it's gonna happen?
It doesn't seem like it's
I would
gonna
be
happen.
shocked if they abandoned their
No.
design identity, unless they're gonna use that design identity period going
All
forward.
right.
Now, that being
I
said,
bet that.
Apple is due for a redesign. Apple's had the same design since like the
It is
iPhone
getting boring.
11
Yes,
at this
yes.
point.
I mean, they
So,
could
I
fit
mean-
19 cameras in that section. It's fine.
Yeah, I know, but
All right.
they're due for a design change, but not that.
All right. One quick last, basically announcement is the OnePlus Ace 5, which is supposedly rumored to be identical to the 13R, which matches because last year's Ace 3 was the 12R, is also leaked all over the place, and the design is leaking. So check it out. I'll put links in the show notes. If you're dying to get another OnePlus phone, rumor is that the 13R is coming. We don't know when, where, what. But the Ace 5 will give you a good idea what to expect. So I just want to put it out there for OnePlus fans.
Good enough.
All right, let's wrap it up and start with Adam. Adam, where can people find you on the internet?
Fewer places than I'd like these days, but no. On the internet, I'm Dead Technology, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, kind of. You can also find my writing at Forbes, CNN/Gear, maybe Laptop Mag recently. So
Nice.
I'm open. So call me if your check will clear. Call me.
That's right.
Nick.
Android Central, of course. And any social at Guanatu, GWANATU.
Awesome. Narav, darling, what are you up to these days?
What day is it? Oh yeah, let me. Now I know. Now you can find me at Nirav or at NiravG, and then at hot.tech, HOT.DOTTECH, and also the domain is hot dot with the period tech, and you'll also find me digital trends and other places. So come say
Cool.
hi.
Michael.
Captain 2 phones. Captain the number 2 phones on all the socials. All of them.
You have some kind of YouTube channel, right?
Also, the Mr. Mobile, THEMRMOBILE. Yes.
Do you have a Tumblr?
No.
Give him my.
It's not all the
Get used
socials,
to
then, is it?
Get
Yeah.
used to
All
it.
right, good point. All right. Folks, you know where to find me on the internet. I'm at Tankrel, TNKGRL, like the comic book character. Drop the vowels, and that's my social media handle everywhere. That means Twitter X for better or for worse, but mostly Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. Find me there, chat with us there, and tell us what you think about the show. And, comments, questions, all that. The podcast is at mobiletechpodcast.com. We're on all the major platforms. Please subscribe, tell your friends if you're here for the first time. Join the party. And if your app lets you rate or review the show, please consider doing that. Also, youtube.com/mobiletechpodcast. You know how YouTube works. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the bell, comment. Check it out. I'll have some videos on some interesting new products very soon. And if you want to help me out financially to support the podcast, Patreon, patreon.com/tankgirl, like my social media handle, so TNKGRL. There is a video version of this podcast. I've mentioned it a few times across this show, and you can get it in advance. You can get it with extra content. This time, a lot of extra content.
Yeah.
And you can get it for $5 a month. Every show is a day in advance. And so check it out. Help me out on Patreon if you can. You know, it does take quite a bit of my time and energy to make this podcast happen. And so your support really be appreciated. If you don't want to use Patreon, there is a link in the show notes to a PayPal button, and you can pay me whatever, $5 for coffee, something like that. So please consider helping. And I also want to thank our sponsor, Mint Mobile. You know I review a lot of phones, so I'm constantly juggling multiple devices. While that's fun, it also means I'm spending a lot of money for wireless service on multiple SIMs. Thankfully, there's Mint Mobile, and that's who I'm teaming up with for today's podcast. If you want to save money on your wireless service, switch to Mint Mobile. You've probably seen the Mint Mobile ads featuring Ryan Reynolds, but let me quickly tell you how fantastic their service is, especially for tech-savvy early adopters like us. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? In my experience testing phones, Mint Mobile delivers the same data speeds and call quality as the big three for a fraction of the cost. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their eSIMs, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. No more standing around waiting in line at a big wireless store. You can keep your current devices and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM card free of charge. The whole process only takes 15 minutes, and if you get stuck, Mint has a great customer service team to get you through it. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning-fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link, mintmobile.com/mobiletech, to get premium wireless starting at $15 a month. Stop paying more than you need on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. And finally, thanks to all of you for joining me on the first ever, hopefully annual, maybe? Cruisecast.
Great.
My God.
So I'll take it.
That would be incredible. I do not see
I mean, we have an annual Toolcast now.
We do.
Right.
There is zero chance in hell that this becomes an annual Cruisecast, but I'm here for it.
Anyway, folks, stay tuned for another show next week. And until then, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Later.
Goodbye, darlings.
Farewell.
This has been the Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl, proudly presented by worldpodcasts.com. You can visit us online at mobiletechpodcast.com.